Thank you, Sergeant Stevens, for that beautiful rendition of the national anthem. Chaplain Dawson, would you please come forward and give the invitation?
Let us bow and pray. Almighty God, we come to you at this time of celebration with gratitude in our hearts to give thanks for the boundless blessings that you bestow upon us and that we enjoy your hand. Thank you for all you do for each of us lately. We're gathered today to recognize the career and accomplishments of Robert Niewoonder. We are thankful for the honorable airman that he is and the efforts that he has made on behalf of countless others throughout his life and Air Force career. Thank you for Robert and his dedicated, devoted, steadfast service. Thank you for Michelle, Blake, and Caitlin for your love and support over the years. Thank you for the countless others who have helped Robert to get to where he is at this moment. Please continue to watch over, protect, and guide Robert and the Niewoonder family as they embark on the next part of their journey. Please bless them with the things that they stand in need of. Guide them as they transition to the next chapter of their lives. Be with them in whatever lies ahead. Bless each of them with an added measure of your Holy Spirit as they embark on this new adventure. Please keep them safe. Help them to recognize your hand in all things and consider those things that are best and most important for them to consider and do today. Please be with our brothers and sisters in arms who are currently deployed or in harm's way: soldier, sailor, airman, guardian, marine, coast guardsman. Watch over, protect, and be with them, bring them home safe. If it be your will, please be with their families. Again, we are grateful for all we have and recognize your hand in all things. We ask for your continued protection and care and your watchful eye to look favorably upon us. We ask for your favors and blessings. It is in your holy name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain Dawson. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Lieutenant Colonel Martin will now say a few words. Good morning. I want to thank everybody for joining me today to recognize some of the significant accomplishments of Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder in his service to America. And I have to tell you that I am humbled to be the one to summarize his accomplishments. Rob's career contributions as a medical professional to our country are significant, and I can tell you that as an intelligence officer that closely tracked the conflict and engagements that Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder spent much of his career serving in, you can take my word for it, some of his contributions are probably more significant than he may understand, and certainly more significant than what I can It's impossible to appreciate Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder's career outside the context of the global conflict that it spanned. In his time, it was normal to be deployed. It was more normal to be deployed than to be at home. It was more normal to be in danger oftentimes than it was to be safe. And unfortunately, American casualties were also normal. But in this context, his service was distinguished in two important ways. First, he was consistently at the point of need, at the point of danger. And that's not something that happens by coincidence. Second, he was always making his units better. Airman Niewoonder enlisted in 1994, and he worked as a radiologic technologist doing diagnostic imaging in the clinic at Wright-Patterson. And right from the start, he demonstrated his knack for improving his units, for making them better. He overhauled the supply system and the office schedule, for example, saving lots of money and increasing patient throughput. He did very well elsewhere. He earned an honor graduate in his technical school. He made the highest score on the Air Force Radiologic Technologist exam in history, and he earned the Levitt Award at his Airman Leadership School. He was selected for the Inter-Service Physician Assistant Program. Staff Sergeant Niewoonder earned his commission in 2002, and he started his new job as a physician assistant in the 92nd Air Refueling Wing at Fairchild, treating thousands of patients and again earning notoriety for making his unit better. He saved money, improved processes, and increased readiness. He helped his clinic win no less than 5 Best Ever awards at the highest levels of the Air Force. He also earned Air Mobility Command's Physician Assistant of the Year and was rated the #1 physician assistant in the #1 squadron of that type in the Air Force at the time. In 2005, Captain Niewoonder received a selective assignment as an aeromedical physician assistant in the 1st Special Operations Wing at Hobart Field. Here, Rob deployed for the first time as a flying medic in the Air Commandos. Ultimately, he would fly 103 hours over 32 missions on the MC-130, the MH-53, and the HH-60. These missions in Iraq and Afghanistan, and let me tell you that on these casualty evacuation missions, he overwatched hundreds of Joint Special Operators getting into nightly gunfights at close personal ranges. This was happening at a time when these conflicts were at their most violent points, and when the rates of American casualties were at their highest. Doc treated gunshots, shrapnel wounds, and shattered bones. He also deployed to the recently destabilized country of Pakistan, installing an international casualty evacuation plan for Americans at that embassy. And I can tell you that about a year later, there was a massive truck bomb at a nearby hotel. It killed 54 people, including some Americans. Rob also deployed to South America several times, providing medical support and casualty evacuation for special operators. On one of these trips, Rob found himself the only medical officer for 5 days in Colombia, ensuring medical protection for a force of over 200 follow-on special operators. They were executing a sensitive rescue mission, and I can tell you that a couple of months after Rob returned, the contributions from that mission resulted in 3 rescued Americans. At this point in the breakneck pace of global counterterrorism operations, America decided it did not have enough special operations to continue to execute this war. And so, in 2008, Captain Niewoonder volunteered to stand up a new medical flight as part of the Air Force effort to nearly double its special operations. As a senior medical officer, now at the 27th Special Operations Support Squadron, Rob ran training, deployment schedule, as well as garrison medical support, and he continued to deploy. He was chosen as a lone medic to establish a special operations presence in Northwest Africa. He founded a clinic and established long-term medical support there. He also identified a cervical spine fracture in an injured American, providing treatment that eventually led to recovery. While in Africa, he acted quickly to secure equipment and prepare passengers when it became clear that the plane the team was on would experience a hard landing. After the plane crash, he ensured the site was secure and personally treated the 9 wounded, including 4 non-ambulatory patients. He then led a 7-hour ground movement of victims across desolate land to the nearest hospital. He was also the lead medic on the first Air Force Special Operations airplane into Haiti after the devastating 2010 earthquake, planning and executing the medical evacuation of over 2,000 patients and personally triaging 40 Americans. During this period, Rob earned his squadron's Company Grade Officer of the Year and the Command's Cheney Award nomination for his valor during the plane crash in Africa. In 2010, Captain Niewoonder moved to the 86th Airlift Wing in Ramstein, Germany. He again received recognition for making his clinic better and improving readiness of the base. And then he deployed again, this time to Afghanistan, to the Nangarhar Provincial Reconstruction Team. He trained Americans and Afghans in combat care skills. He drilled his medics in casualty rehearsals, advised key Afghan leaders on medical operations, and provided medical care for hundreds of warriors during convoys and outside the war missions. Again, he was treating gunshot wounds, shrapnel wounds, and traumatic brain injuries. It was here in April of 2012 that his base was attacked by multiple suicide bombers. He led the triage and the care and the resulting mass casualty event. There were 31 wounded. I can tell you that that attack was just one of about half a dozen simultaneous complex attacks that day in 3 different cities in Afghanistan. It was part of the Taliban's most shocking spring offensive in the history of the war. Because of Rob and people like him that day, it wasn't as bad as it could have been. Rob earned the Bronze Star Medal. His clinic in Germany twice earned recognition as the best in the Air Force in Europe. In 2013, Major Niewoonder returned to the Air Force Special Operations Command, this time to the headquarters as the Chief of the Global Health Engagements. Here he oversaw the development of specialized medical teams accompanying their security cooperation engagements in third world countries, partnering with America on counterterrorism missions. He coordinated missions in 7 African nations to develop organic casualty evacuations. He personally led 3 missions in Niger, Africa, advising that military's leaders on the establishment of an air casualty evacuation system. And within a short time, this system was credited with saving 50 lives during partner nation casualty evacuations. I can tell you that Major Niewoonder effectively built life-saving medical infrastructure for what would become a major U.S. counterterrorism operating location in the years to follow. Major Niewoonder left his headquarters job as a top-rated officer in his grade, and he was competitively selected for a year-long orthopedic surgery fellowship. In 2016, he became the Surgical Services Flight Commander of the 35th Fighter Wing in Misawa Air Base, Japan. He led a team to perform thousands of procedures, and he also continued to make his unit better. He modernized operating room equipment, increased capacity, standardized pre-op procedures, and he ran mass casualty scenarios for his base during exercises. He was the #1 flight commander. He was twice the Field Grade Officer of the Year and a top-rated officer in the wing. In 2018, Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder arrived here at the Base Defense Group, bringing with him all the combat medicine experience and all the drive to improve the unit. He revamped our parachute duty medical program, coordinating with 4 jumping units and 6 clinics to medically clear hundreds of airmen to jump out of airplanes, personally accomplishing over 100 physicals himself. He also facilitated our medical clearances for hundreds of our airmen, ensuring readiness for our always short-notice deployments. He oversaw tactical medical training for over 700 of our combat airmen. He drilled his medics in trauma and medical casualty scenarios, and he negotiated the Air Force first enrollment for his medics into the enlisted critical care course. securing practical real-world experience for our medics for prolonged field care situations. He also overhauled the BDG's medical equipment, tailoring it for agile combat scenarios. Through all this, he was one of the top-rated officers in the wing, and that's not saying anything slight for a wing that's full of officers in the same grade that do security forces and tactical combat air patrol. For all this, for consistently being at the point of need, at the point of danger for America, for always making his units better, for literally saving the lives of Americans and our partners, please join me in recognizing Lieutenant Colonel Niewonder's distinguished service. Rob, thank you for being a good American.
Thank you, Lieutenant Colonel Martin. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the presentation of the Meritorious Service Medal. Attention to orders. The Meritorious Service Medal, 3rd Oak Leaf Cluster, has been awarded to Lieutenant Colonel Robert B. Niewoonder for outstanding service, 18 December 2018 to 31 May 2024. Lieutenant Colonel Robert B. Niewoonder distinguished himself in the performance of outstanding service to the United States as Chief, Group Medical Division, 820th Combat Operations Squadron, 820th Base Defense Group, 93rd Air Ground Operations Wing, Moody Air Force Base, Georgia. During this period, Colonel Niewoonder managed the group's medical enterprise, including 12 personnel and medical assets valued at $1 million. He authored a group instruction defining roles and processes for in-garrison and deployed medical operations. Additionally, Colonel Niewoonder established a new training plan on advanced skills and equipment, increasing group capability for extended field care in contested environments. He also advised the wing commander during the coronavirus pandemic and co-authored a response plan mitigating health risks while ensuring continued operations. Furthermore, Colonel Niewoonder streamlined the static line parachute duty physical examination program, accomplishing 164 physicals, resulting in a 62% increase in trained airborne personnel. Finally, he directed the medical processing of 956 defenders over 9 deployments, ensuring the group's success in immediate response force and leading wing missions. The singularly distinctive accomplishments of Colonel Niewoonder culminate a distinguished career in the service of his country and reflect great credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. Please remain standing for the posting of the retirement orders. Attention orders. Special order number Alpha Charlie 007530, dated 6 June 2023, effective 31 May 2024. You are relieved from active duty, 820th Combat Operations Squadron, Moody Air Force Base, Georgia. Retired effective 01 June 2024. Per AFI 362303 in the grade of Lieutenant Colonel. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Lieutenant Colonel Martin will now present the retirement certificate from the Armed Forces of the United States of America to Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder. To all who shall see these presents, reading this to certify that Lieutenant Colonel Robert B. Niewoonder, having served faithfully and honorably, is retired from the United States Air Force on the first day of June 2024. Signed, Charles Q. Brown, Jr., Chief of Staff, United States Air Force. We would now like to present Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder with a certificate of appreciation from the President of the United States, which reads, I extend my personal gratitude and a sincere appreciation of a grateful nation to you for your patriotic service to our country. Your bravery and dedication in our armed forces helped protect your fellow Americans during a critical moment in our history and contributed to a world of greater security and growing prosperity. Your devotion to duty, honor, and country, in keeping with the long traditions of the finest military in the world, embodied the American ideal of selfless service. Our nation owes you an incredible debt. Your commitment and the example you set will inspire future generations to serve with pride and to keep our country secure. You represent the best of our nation, and I join our fellow Americans in saluting your honorable service. I wish you happiness and success in your next chapter. Signed, President Joe R. Biden. In addition to the certificate of appreciation from President Biden, Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder also received congratulatory letters from Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Joanne Bass, and Commander 93rd Air and Ground Operations Wing, Colonel Timothy Hood. Ms. Niewoonder and Caitlin, will you please come forward for the pinning of the retirement pin? Every retiree receives a special retirement pin as a memento of their military service. At this time, Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder's wife and daughter will present the retirement pin. The United States Air Force Retirement Lapel Pin is symbolic of 20 years or more of honorable service to our country. Retirees should wear the pin proudly to signify their contributions to America's welfare and security. At this time, Lieutenant Colonel Martin will present Ms. Niewoonder with the Air Force Certificate of Appreciation. In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Michelle D. Niewoonder for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support which gave strength and purpose to your spouse's service. In addition to the Certificate of Appreciation, Ms. Niewoonder also received an appreciation letter from Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, Joanne Bass, and Colonel Timothy Hood, 93rd Air and Ground Operations Commander. At this time, Lieutenant Colonel Martin will present Caitlin and Blake certificates of appreciation. Please come forward. In grateful appreciation, the United States Air Force presents this certificate of recognition to Caitlin and Blake Niewoonder for the commitment and numerous contributions that made positive impacts to the nation's defense. Thank you for the support, which gave strength and purpose to your father's service. Thank you, Ms. Niewoonder, Caitlin, and Blake. It is tradition for all departing members of military organizations to receive a gift upon retirement. Lieutenant Colonel Martin will now present Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder with a departing gift.
Good morning again, everyone. The BEG has a history that in some ways overlaps with Colonel Niewoonder's. The most current version of the BEG, anyway, was established shortly after Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder got in the Air Force, and its history has been shaped by many of the same events. The BEG has been in Haiti, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and in Africa. The BEG has been in Haiti, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and in Africa. The BEG has been in Haiti, in Iraq, in Afghanistan, and in Africa. And we have a saying in the BDG that we joined the fight, meaning that of all the things that you can do in the Air Force, the BDG has joined to do things that are the most difficult. And I can think of nobody who deserves this more than Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder. Thanks for joining the fight.
At this time, Master Sergeant Howell will now present a gift to Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder.
Can everybody hear me? Am I too loud? Turn down your hearing aid, sorry. Doc, I'm supposed to be up here to present you an award on behalf of the BDG Med Team, and I know you're trying to wrap this up pretty quick, but I got something to say. First of all, allow me to say it was a pleasure to work for you over the past few years, even though you made me interview for the job when I was the only senior NCO I didn't tear up. But on a serious note, wow. Hearing what Colonel Martin said on paper about all your accomplishments, that's amazing. I feel like I'm not even worthy to be up here on the stage with you with that kind of history. What a distinguished career you have had. Coming from an enlisted airman to retiring as a lieutenant colonel and one of the top PAs in the Air Force. Over 30 long years. Impressive. You gave a lot to the unit, and I'll never forget the countless hours we put into creating the UTCs that the BDG will utilize to operate in the future. Your mark has been left, and your legacy will live on. I appreciated your attention to detail in all work tasks. Your tireless work ethic, even though your computer worked half the time. Your uncanny ability of foresight and the life advice we both shared about raising our kids, and the various struggles of your shower renovation that seemed to drag on forever. I know your family is extremely proud of you, like I am. Not many reach retirement with their family intact due to the nature of our business, and how it may take us away from those we love and make us miss some of life's most precious moments that we can never get back. So my hat is off to you and your family for sticking it out together, because I know how hard it is. I wish you, Michelle, Blake, and Caitlin all the best in your next phase of life. A special shout out goes out to your mom, Niewoonder, Nancy Myers. I know you did a good job raising your son. And it's an honor to have you here with us today. Thank you. All right, enough of all the mushy stuff, because I see you getting teary-eyed over there, and I know you don't like getting emotional. So back to the parting gift on behalf of the BDG Med Team. So, we heard grumblings that you're somewhat of a garage band nerd who can shred the guitar. So instead of a dull shadow box that will end up in your attic, we took one of your guitars and had Jesse pour his blood, sweat, and tears in its creation. This guitar proudly represents your service in the Air Force as it brandishes your ribbon rack, your badges, and the different MAJCOMs that you've been part of. The American flag, which represents everything that we stand for, freedom, and pride in our country. Thanks for everything, sir.
Ladies and gentlemen, I am honored to present Lieutenant Colonel Robert Niewoonder, United States Air Force retired.
Thank you all for coming. So, first and foremost, before I go on with this thing, I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge that there are serious things going on in the world right now. So just last week, some of our brothers perished on a CD-22 crash off the coast of Japan. And the Air Force just released their names the day before yesterday. Technical Sergeant Zachary Lavoie, Major Eric Spenlove, Staff Sergeant Jake Turnage, Major Jeffrey Horniman, Sergeant Jacob Gallagher, Major Luke Unrath, Senior Airman Brian Johnson, Captain Terrell Grayson. So please join me for a brief moment of silence. Think about them and their families. Thank you. So I apologize to start this off on a somber note, but stuff like that puts this into perspective on what's important in life. So, 30 years is a long time. How on earth did I get here? I used to joke around that I'm kind of like the Forrest Gump of the Air Force, because I'm really not that smart, but I've gone on to have all these amazing adventures and work with amazing people through all these years. So I enlisted 5 years after high school. I was an average high school student. I went to college for a couple years and got an associate's degree, but my grades weren't really that great and not really good enough to be competitive to do some of the stuff that I was interested in doing. So I took some time off and just worked. But at the time I was broke, frustrated, didn't really know what I wanted to do. So I came up with this idea to join the Air Force, and when I did, I was already older than most of my peers, and at that time I was hungry, focused, driven, serious, probably a little too serious. I wanted to make something of myself, so I worked hard. I strive to be the best at everything that I did. And I did accomplish a lot in my career, but I didn't do it alone. As a young NCO and junior officer, I think I had a self-realization that I made something of myself. I'm important. You know, life has a way of providing lessons in humility. And I'm reminded of one such lesson. So I moved from Earl Field to Cannon Air Force Base to help stand up a new unit with some other colleagues. And while I was assigned to Cannon, which is in the thriving metropolis of Clovis, New Mexico, for those who haven't been, I was preparing for deployment to Africa. And in typical fashion, I was up packing my stuff late at night. I didn't go to bed until probably 1 in the morning, and I had an early flight the next morning to fly out. And I had a planned stop in Stuttgart, Germany, to meet with and brief SOC Africa, Special Operations Command Africa, senior leadership on the medical aspect of our meeting, or our deployment. So, anyway, I get to the airport. Through experience, I've had luggage loss, so I was sure to pack my uniform on a carry-on bag. And as I'm going into the airport, the security guy is x-raying my carry-on, and he comments to me, "Did you know that only one of your boots is steel-toed and not the other?" I thought to myself, that's weird. So, whatever. I make my way to Germany, and I didn't have very much time to spare, so at the time we landed, I would have about an hour to get my luggage, change, and get to this meeting. So by the time I caught a taxi and made it to the base, I got there with about 20 minutes to spare. So I found a place to change, took off my civilian clothes, put my pants, my t-shirt on, socks, left boot, right boot. Oh shit. So it turns out that I packed 2 left boots. So I didn't have time to get the clothing and sales because they didn't open for another hour and 20 minutes. And I couldn't go to this meeting with this top brass wearing these shabby looking civilian clothes that I just slept in all night in an airplane. So I had no choice but to wear my 2 left boots to this meeting. So I went, and it was the most uncomfortable thing I've ever felt. Thank God nobody noticed that. My wife still gives me a hard time and says, "Oh, did you just walk in circles the whole time?" So anyway, back to my story. So how did I get here? I got here with the help from a lot of people. Starting with my mom. Who supported me from the beginning, lifelong, taught me everything that I know to help me become the person that I am today. She's exemplified kindness, selflessness, and generosity, and I'm grateful that you could make her your mom. My late father, who couldn't be here today, passed away in 2011 while I was on my way out the door to Afghanistan. But my dad taught me how to drive, and he taught me the importance of a strong work ethic. My stepdad Alan, has really stepped up, brings comfort and caring for my mom. And Alan, you're a much more beloved family member than you know. My sister Sandy, who's demonstrated resilience and made something of herself, and she's a paramedic firefighter for Palm Beach County, Florida. Thank you for coming. My late grandparents, who couldn't be here, but they've been with me all this time until kind of recently. So I thank them for all the love and wisdom that they've provided me over the years. Countless people in my career that I've encountered, commanders, supervisors, thank you for putting me in positions of leadership and increased responsibility and trusting in me and backing me up. Thank you to colleagues, subordinates, officers, and enlisted alike who've worked in the trenches alongside me, supported me, backed me up, and ended up making me look good with their own blood, sweat, and tears. There's a really long list of people to thank, and I couldn't possibly get through all of them. I'll be here for 2 days. But there's some standouts that I'd like to acknowledge. Colonel Tim Robinette, retired. Lieutenant Colonel Jeff Burgess, retired. Colonel Lee Ortiz, retired. Master Sergeant Mark Harris, retired. I'm live streaming this on Facebook. Mark, if you're out there, I still owe you for filling my car with styrofoam peanuts. Master Sergeant Royce Garrett's retired. Master Sergeant Phil Murphy retired. So, I also want to say a special thank you to Colonel Wayne. Appreciate you making it out here, brother. You guys were huge influences on me in ways that you have no idea. So I pay attention. It doesn't matter if you're a medical officer enlisted or not. So I latch on to people who are professionals and set a good example, and I watch and study, and I've learned something from all of it. And I thank you for that. And I wouldn't be here without the help of everybody. To my kids, I'm so proud of both of you guys. I know that this lifestyle hasn't been easy for you. So we've moved a lot in the middle of the school year. And I know it hasn't been easy for you guys. I've missed big chunks of your lives deploying. But I want you both to know how proud of you guys that I am and all the things that you've accomplished up to this point. And I'm excited to see you guys blossom to adults and see what you guys do with yourselves and your lives. To my wife, my rock, my best friend. So Michelle and I married 29 years ago as young airmen stationed at Keystone Air Force Base tonight. She ended up separating from the Air Force, going to school to be a teacher, and until we were stationed our last duty assignment, never got to use that degree because she was busy raising her own kids. So, but she's followed me all around the country and around the world twice. And all the inspiration that I get is from there. So she's pushed me to better myself and also tells me to slow down when I'm doing too much. So, I love you. So before I forget, I also wanted to say thank you to Senior Airman Martin, Lieutenant Colonel Martin, Master Sergeant Powell, and everybody who set up this event. Thank you so much for all your hard work and all that. And I also want to say a special thank you to Tech Sergeant Select Jesse Williams, who did all the work on the guitar. He's been toiling away at that thing, and it is so awesome. It's the coolest thing ever. So thank you so much, Jesse. This guitar is more than just a plaque. So usually for retirement ceremonies, you get a shadow box or a plaque and say some stuff on it. So this is my plaque, but I'm actually going to use it. So thanks for that. It's really awesome. So with that, traditionally at these kind of events, we play a musical recording of the Air Force song, and then all the attendees get to mumble and lip sync terribly while this music plays. So instead of that, I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I played this awesome guitar that I was just gifted? So I'm going to do that instead. So it's logistically too much of a pain to put a band up here. So my son Blake and I put together a track which features him on the piano, and he did some of the work on the drums as well. And he helped me put this together. So I'm going to play that instead. So what am I meant to?
Satisfied. Hold on a second. I got my man, but they like Dixie.
men and women of the United States Air Force are proud to have served with Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder and wish him every success in his future endeavors. Please rise for the departure of the official party. This concludes today's ceremony. Lieutenant Colonel Niewoonder invites everyone to attend a reception in the back of the hangar for lunch and refreshments.